Hello, how are you?
Ash is fine.
I'm suitable.
Oh, I like that. I'm an ash bird.
Okay.
Or flaming ash, whatever you like. Could be a funny one. See, the ash decided that we needed to cut the extra ashes out.
I knew it was getting about that
It was
time.
getting about that time, so it got.
And here it is cool again today.
Yeah, I know that usually happens. Wait till I really cut it off. It'd probably be freezing.
Because I feel like I've got my sandals on, but then I've got a coat on because it was supposed to be 72, but we've got a long way to go before we get there.
See, I love my hair, it's really. Yes, 72. We came in here Monday morning and it was cold.
Yeah.
They turned the heat off.
Mm.
It was cold in here. So good thing we exercised because it built up some movement around here. Yes. Then interesting. So I'm identifying today as ash. So I cut some of the ash down and you can see the extra ashes sitting on here. So ashes is here. And that's because I just don't understand people identifying with different things, but I thought I might try it for a day. What does an ash do?
Float in the wind. That's what I was going to say. Floats in the wind.
Settles on people.
Soot clings to the sides of the chimney, I think, right?
On you.
Okay. Yeah, I cling to the side of a chimney.
So you just sort of cling on to me and I sort of.
I'm like a barnacle. I guess. I mean, it's just.
My husband said I needed to put some ashes on my face.
We could have done that Ash Wednesday. It could have been Ash Wednesday that Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm not to remember that next year when we do it on Ash Wednesday.
Well, we are discussing this because I sent her an article on furries. Because these kids were boycotting school because they were tired of getting kicked and bitten and licked by these things that are called furries, and they couldn't say anything. But of course, the school system, I'm sure they don't want any attention, says that's not happening. So, but if you get so many people, how many did you say?
The one article, which was earlier with 1,500 petitions, and then it got up to 2,700 petitions, and I was reading the comments in one of the written articles where the school district said, well, that's not really true. They sent out an article, they sent out a post saying, we respect the feelings and rights of others.
Go ahead and shoot me now. I'm so, but when do our rights when do you get, when you're biting and licking me and you're in my space, when does my right matter?
Well, they said that didn't happen, but something must.
But school districts are going to lie. They're going to protect them. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. They're going to lie and protect themselves.
That happens with a lot of touchy-feely people I know because things are changed and people adjust. So I read this article where they say, well, we sent this out because there's a group of people and the cute little, I guess it was little girls, and they wear little things with ears on it, like bunny ears and little bows. And it was a middle school. First of all, let's make a statement here. Middle school kids are all squirrely. Not that they identify as squirrels, but they're all a little screwy because everything's raging in their body in that age.
Okay, but okay. Stop the presses. But when you were in school, when you were teaching school, when I was in school, we'd have not been allowed to go out the house like that.
No.
And we would have not been able to act this way at school.
No.
Because an adult in the room would have pointed out this is distracting, and secondly, you're not a cat, you're not a dog, you're not a fish, you are a human being, and for 8 hours you're going to be here sitting here acting like a human learning. We don't need to teach cats and dogs English and writing. Correct?
That's correct.
We do not have schools for English for dogs and cats or any other kind of animal, fish. I'm so sick of people catering to these kind of things. And if you can't handle it, turn us off. But I'm just telling you, you need to grow up, people, because this is just cold hard facts. We're not being ugly. We're not being rude. They're not cats. They're not dogs. They're there to learn. They're distracting other people. So take your little ears off
Now, do we have special days? Sometimes, yes.
They have
Halloween,
and people,
they dress
yes.
up. And you can dress up as a witch, and I'm sure many of my students thought that would be my appropriate attire, would be a witch.
I doubt that. You would never probably come across that way.
Yeah, sometimes, but then when they got to know me, they just figured, oh, she's just being strict.
She's just an Italian.
But the operative word here again is distracting. Why are you dressing yourself up like something that you aren't?
Why are your parents allowing it?
And they're letting you because they don't.
Because we don't want to hurt their feelings. We want them to feel and we want them to be who they think they are.
That's giving me ideas of yesterday.
And I'm sorry. Exactly. And I'm sorry, you as the parents need to say, no, pull your britches up. Your underwear don't need to shine. You need to dress nicely. I mean, and when I say dress nicely, that don't mean you got to go out here and buy expensive stuff.
Suit ties.
It just means that you just need to have your face clean, your hair brushed, and everything just, and clean and neat. That's all you're saying. We're not saying,
clean and neat.
Because then somebody's going to sit here and say, well, Karen, people that don't have money. That's not it. I mean, I never had the best of everything coming up.
Oh, I didn't either.
But Mama made sure that we had a bath, our teeth were brushed, our hair was combed, our face was not messy.
And you went to school in appropriate clothing.
Yes, and adults had the right to tell you if you weren't.
Now, we've had kids that we know this recently. Remember one little boy had something on his shirt, like, was it Right to Life or whatever? Wasn't it like a year ago we talked about, and they sent him home. Now, to me, I don't know if you consider that distracting or anything, but that's his right to think that. As a right to come to school to look like a fuzzy and a furry and stand out, and they're doing it because they want to stand out. Okay. But it's going to get negative standout stuff.
But I go back again. I'm sorry. This could be distracting to somebody.
True.
A color could be distracting to somebody.
Yes.
So I'm sorry if you can't keep yourself together enough to not be distracted by something. You got issues. I mean,
but if a kid comes into your classroom dressed like Porky Pig, I might not be too nice. I might go, and say, do you speak that language? And
I just had sausage last night.
It's like, so you are sitting way in the back.
And if they argue with you, then you're going to go, bitty beep, bitty beep, bitty beep. That's our folks. Get to the office.
You are out. There's the door.
Do not come back.
Collect $200. Do not come back until you are dressed appropriately. Because here's a lot of things in my thing that I would use this as. When their pants are hanging down, almost to their, what
I know, down to their knees.
Yeah, and their.
How do they run?
Exactly. That's a safety issue. If, God forbid, if you have to get out of that school real fast, this kid's busy pulling up his pants or falling down and knocking. That's a safety issue. Pull your pants up. No one wants to see the color of your underwear. We don't care about it. That, to me, is so annoying. Likewise, if a kid comes in dressed with a Porky Pig hat, and we have to leave again, you got this kid wobbling around in bed. Now, I don't know if they really were biting or spitting, but something propagated that reaction.
Well, if 1,500 people signed it,
then that's a lot of people.
That's not like 2 or 3.
No, it's not like 2 or 3. And that's what I was reading some of the comments, and the one guy said, gee, 2,700 people signed a petition. Who, why did they just sign it? Just because they signed it? Or that's what he was insinuating. He didn't come out and say that. I'm thinking, a lot of people signed that petition. And from what the school district said is these kids in this group I guess they're the ones wearing the funny things, were being harassed by other groups. I don't know. We're not there. But something started it. And
the kids, if you actually see the kids,
I did,
and they're really upset, and they're upset because they said they get in trouble if they say anything back to them.
And that's, so there's
But
gotta be something.
Oh yeah, I believe there's something, and I believe the school district just doesn't want it out because it doesn't want to look like they're stupid for allowing people to come dressed like that because we're supposed to be adults. I mean, if you think about it, if aliens were looking down, if aliens are out there and they're looking down at our school system and they're going, these are educated people, supposedly,
Yes.
that are allowing people to sit there and lick themselves. And,
I'm a fly. Have you ever watched Flies?
no, because I don't want to. But I don't want, I mean, flies we swat. So, I mean, I'm just thinking if somebody else, and I mean, and I am looking at this from a broader perspective, and I'm thinking, you're adults. You're supposed to be smart people. You're supposed to be people that are training these kids. And what are you training them to do?
I think these kids probably need some guidance if they.
Their parents need guidance for sure.
The parents need guidance. They have to do something.
Because they don't want to hurt their feelings either. Well, I'm sorry. Life's going to hurt your feelings at some point. I'm sorry.
So touchy feely.
I just don't get, your parents are there to guide you and guard you and teach you the path to go down.
That's right.
Because when you get out there on your own and you're looking yourself in a subway,
or somebody else.
Or somebody else.
I mean,
somebody else. One day somebody is going to pop you. And you can't blame anybody but yourself because we all have space.
Exactly.
And you get in my space, if you were to come up and lick me like a cat,
just pull that tongue out.
Well, we're gonna go ahead first, and we're gonna go ahead and get you declawed, and we're probably gonna neuter you, and we're gonna.
Well, there's an idea.
And spay you.
I like it.
Because we don't want you reproducing if you're acting like this. You don't need to reproduce.
So if that's how you identify, well, yes, I guess you could go that way. Good thought, Soot.
I just,
that is a real good thought.
Yeah, and we're gonna start putting tick and flea stuff on you. I mean, we're just gonna have to. You're just going to.
And we can chip you because that way if you get lost, we'll know where you are.
Well, I really don't know if I want to find you. But I am being totally serious. If my kid wanted to act like this, one thing is at home. One thing is at home. I mean, if a kid wants to be a fireman, that's fine. But he can't go to school and be a fireman.
Some of this stuff comes from what they're watching. And all of our grandchildren love these little shows, Chicapoo, whatever these poos are. And they'll have the little outfits, and they're so cute because they wear them. Not that I think they identify that there are those, but they wear the little costumes, right? Well, now there's a movie out, and the movie has one of the main characters is one of these, I don't know, red fuzzy, looks like a cat. It's big, and it's supposed to be like a martial arts type movie. And no wonder the kids think that, because it's cool. They think this is a cool animal.
I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know what you're watching,
but
I'm not missing it at all.
I'm not watching it because it's so stupid. It's this made up animal that's a big animal. I gotta look it up. I gotta find out what is that. Maybe it's on Hulu or something. And he's like a martial art, and there's the human, and the human is actually the dumb one.
But see, as a kid, we were taught reality versus fake.
That's fake. That's right.
I mean, we were taught that. Yes, you can watch TV, but none of that's real.
It's not real. Of course,
I just told her a Yeti's in the hall. She didn't even blink because she knew there wasn't a real Yeti in the hall.
Right.
There is a Yeti in the hall, but it's a Yeti cup.
That's exactly. I love that.
But I mean, you weren't going, oh my God.
It's a Yeti. Let's close and lock the door and we'll be safe.
I mean, you thought rationally, and you were like, okay.
Yeah, somebody left.
She didn't even look up. I mean, that's why these kids, but again, it goes back to the parents.
Oh, yeah.
Teaching them reality versus personally, until a certain age, we didn't let our son play with guns.
Until he was capable
of understanding
how dangerous
they can be, because kids go around, and then if then at that certain age, if we caught him shooting at animals that weren't, like, innocent animals and people,
right,
we would take it away until he could learn, because it was our responsibility.
learning process, yes.
And so that was how we chose to do this. But I mean, again, we were trying to guide him that, life is precious. We don't care you're playing. Even, we don't care. Don't point at people. And you don't shoot unless you're hunting.
Right.
But just to go around and shoot a bird out of a tree,
to
just shoot something, we don't do that, because life is valuable.
That's right.
And once you shoot it, you can't bring it back. Or you
And
kill it.
those behaviors, I once, well, our daughter, bless her heart, used to watch. I mean, she was little. She was Little Mermaid. And she thought all these movies were real. You had to explain to them, no, this is all made up. And finally, she caught, it's like, she cried because she's so empathetic in these movies. And I can relate to that. I can relate to all of that.
I do.
I do.
Because we all fall for that. We all want it to be
That's
real.
right.
We want that Prince Charming to come and wake us up and be the prince.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yes.
But shooting and even just being cruelty, that leads to worse things. And all these behaviors lead to worse. I mean, I remember I had a student in my classroom. He had gotten kicked out of Troy High School, which was across the river. So he had to come to our school. And they put him
Thank you.
And they put him in my classroom. And then they don't back. Sometimes you get a kid and they don't tell you the background, and you have no idea what's sitting in front of you and how it could be a dangerous situation.
And that can be good and bad. Because you don't want to be prejudging.
That's true.
You don't want to prejudge, because there are certain situations. I mean, but if it's a dangerous situation, you would like to know, correct?
Especially if you got expelled, because usually that means
expelled means they've done
something really bad. Okay. And I found out, guidance counselor, yes, he broke windows. So I don't know what windows he broke, but he broke. So he was a little angry. He was an angry child. But, and this was the thing, he hasn't hurt any humans. He hasn't hurt people.
Well, thank you. But has he hurt?
It's a matter of time, because if you study these behaviors and they have that anger issue, it escalates. Hello.
Well, if you find that there are kids out there that like to harm animals, generally they're usually starting because it's like, okay, then let's build up to other things.
This is kind of fun. Let me see what other things I can hurt as they get bigger.
Generally.
I watch way too many of those shows. But that is really,
I don't think they're trying to be a vet.
No, I don't think it's done out of concern for an animal.
No, I don't think they're trying to heal them. I think they're trying to harm them.
You just catch them, and they're pretty normal animals that don't need any kind of healing or veterinary, but they make sure that there's animals. And it's horrible. I mean,
But you're trying to raise good quality people.
Yes. So at least they know what's going on. And you sit down and talk with your children.
Yes. And like I said, there's certain behavior that's fine at home. Once you get home, be a cat.
Yeah.
But when you're in society, these are not societal things that you do.
When you go to school, you go to learn. And if you are distracting, I know with our kids, if you got in trouble, you got usually in trouble at home too.
Yes.
And our son only once, he got in trouble. And our daughter, well, she was a little kid. She was like in 5th grade. And they were harassing her, the boys, because she was always cute. And she'd get fed up with it. And I called the principals. And of course they said, well, that's how 5th grade boys behave. No, I'm telling you right now, if they touch her and she's gonna kick them.
And that's how our 5th grade daughter behaves. Because we taught her to do this.
We taught her. Because if you can't handle it, she will.
And if she can't, then we are.
Yeah, because she was not a bad child. Our son is not a bad kid. he and his buddies who decided that the kid wearing his pants low. And that's how he got in trouble.
Apparently, you want them off anyway. So here,
So he's, he got.
I'm just gonna help him
That's
get
right.
them off.
And he got suspended. He did get suspended. He had to go to detention. And we said, well, don't do it. Don't touch him. And, and really, it wasn't nice of me because I thought it was kind of funny.
I think it's funny. I mean,
Because, here's all these boys who are all soccer players. They all went to church together. They played together. They were very smart children. And there's this one, that's doing that. So
did he keep his britches pulled up any more, or did
I have no idea, but maybe he did.
Well,
at least that's policing your own, right?
sometimes that's what you do. Sometimes you let the kids take care of the kids. I mean, I know on when we were on some teams and stuff, if the kids were like, "We're tired of running in circles because of you, so we're gonna make sure you gonna tighten up because we're tired of doing these exercises." When the coach
That's
makes
right.
everybody do it,
Yeah.
sometimes the team can do a better job than just the coach. So, so some of the things that I thought about while you were talking. One, if I go into Walmart, no, if a furry comes up to me and tries to hock its leg because thinks I'm a fire hydrant because I'm dressed in red, ain't gonna have to worry about honking that leg any further, right?
Or I'll just go and watch your flag.
So,
That's a really good one. I like that one.
You don't have the right to do everything. I'm sorry. And then the other thing I was thinking about was, I have to bring that one back to my mind because I did the hucking of the leg, and that really got me. Yeah. But there was another one I was thinking about with the parents, because you're not helping these kids by enabling them.
No, because they grow up into adults and think the same thing, enabling them, entitling them. And guess what? Then you become narcissists.
Well, then you're going to
talk about that, Frank.
Well, then you're going to get them to college, and then if the professor asks them to do anything they don't want to do,
I don't want to do it.
And then you're going to get them in the military, and they're not going to be able to do anything because that sergeant was telling me, yeah, he didn't like my little ears and told me I couldn't wear my tail out to war because if your enemy sees you in ears and a tail, they're going to think something anyway. So I mean, you're really not helping this child. I mean, yes, there are childhood fantasies. There's things because we encourage kids to pretend. Pretend. Pretend is good for you.
Yes,
but learn the difference.
Pretend reality.
Exactly. Snatch it back.
You got to come back because when your mama calls you home for dinner, doesn't matter whether you were playing Tarzan or Jungle Jim or you were cheating the egg. When you go back for dinner, you better not be acting that way.
Oh no, or else you may not get dinner.
Exactly.
No, I mean because we don't
feed at the table. Exactly. You're home.
You have to learn the distinction.
And
I mean, we all that's one reason some of us really love movies and TV. It's because it does give you a few minutes to be brain dead and get into some kind of fantasy that is not happening.
Sometimes it's just funny stuff because you gotta get away from too much serious stuff.
I mean, if y'all think that they solve these crimes in real life in 30 minutes, you're wrong. That's not reality.
No. Speaking of one that's really good, it's called Matrix, and it's British, and it's about 3 retired police officers and 1 young woman superintendent, played by Amanda Redmond, and they solve cold cases.
Okay.
And it's cute, it's humorous, it's very good, and it's relaxing.
Very good.
And it's a really good, it's been out, it was an old one, it came out like 2003, and I think it went off like 2008.
But it's one to go back and watch.
It's one to go back and watch, because they use and they're funny, and they're characters, and it's enjoyable, and you see how their brains are, the quirky guys, and guys really, just so anal and OCD. But anyway, none of them identify as squirrels. they don't hide their nuts.
Well, there's a lot of people don't have them anyway. I guess we'll end on that note because it's about time for us to go.
Ash.
So, bye. See you later.